Hello, Charlie Macklin here, and welcome to Alchemy and Chemistry, Part 13. We're going to pick up pretty much where we left off. In today's video, I want to go over astrology, astronomy, and a little bit of alchemy with regard to spagyrics, kind of picking up where we left off. Today is my birthday, and speaking of astrology, at 39 years old, Leo, of course, August 7th, and my rising sign is actually Virgo, and that's 8:45 a.m. That would explain the nerdiness, the Virgo part. The Leo part definitely explains the sort of narcissistic, grandiose sense of self with a fragile ego. And then my moon sign is Gemini, which I really don't know a lot about Gemini moon sign and what that would mean for a person. But for those of you that are into astrology, analyze appropriately. So, speaking of such things, let's see what astrology traditionally has been, what has traditionally been done with astrology with regard to the alchemical processes. So, here's the Spagyrics book. I really like this book. And I've been reading other books as well, of course, the Corpus Hermeticum. But this one's just got a lot of cool, practical information. So let's get to the effect of astrology here. Now, okay, this is a good spot to start. Each planet is associated with a metal. It's associated with a deity or a religious tradition. It's associated with the day of the week. And it comes in an order that is not the same order as the day of the week. And the traditional order is as follows, as opposed to the days of the week, which are in a slightly different order. But the sun is associated with Sunday. It's associated with the metal gold. Venus, associated with Friday, and that's associated with copper. Mercury, okay, obviously the metallic mercury as well, and that day is Wednesday. The moon is Monday, moon day, and that's going to be silver. Saturn is Saturday, and that's going to be lead. Jupiter, Thursday, tin. Mars, Tuesday, iron. Each one of these has a symbol, and there are hours of the day associated with each planet on this traditional chart. Now, take it with a grain of salt. It would be very difficult to test this for accuracy. But what it does do is it gives you a sort of personal calendar for doing chemical processes, and it slows you down and makes you think, okay, I'm going to do a calcination, and then I'm going to wait 3 hours and do another process, etc. And that kind of helps the chemist or the alchemist pace themselves and think about what they're doing with a little more caution. As far as the actual astrological effects of the planet, I will get more into that later in this video. I've got another method I think is probably more scientific, whereas this is more traditional. But let's just go through how you would do it traditionally, tying these to the chemicals. So, okay. Each astrological sign, the 12 astrological signs, is associated with a chemical process. So, as you can see here, Aries is associated with calcinating. That's making something into ash, burning it to ash. Leo with digestion. Scorpio with separation. Virgo with distillation. Those are both kind of similar in their processes. So you can see here there's different astrological signs for each chemical process you might be doing. Pisces with projection, now that could be more along the lines of art. I mean, describing how and when you're doing something and putting it in the form of art or literature or chemical drawings, that really is kind of projection, I think. But anyways, now there's 12 of these, but there's 7 traditional planets. I mean, there's 9 planets, and there's probably more out there as well, but traditionally there's 7 planets that were noticed in the past. And so how would these tie in with the 7 planets? Well, for that you go to this little chart. And on the left side is the daytime path. And on the right side is the nighttime path. Each of the 12 astrological signs has a planet assigned to it, depending on whether it's day or night. So, here's how you would tie this together. Let's say you wanted to distill something. So you'd go over here and say, which one's associated with distillation? Okay, Virgo. Now I'm going to find Virgo, the symbol for Virgo on this chart here. And that's, where is the Virgo? This little fellow right here. So Virgo then, you say, okay, well, we're on the daytime path here. And we're going to go look there at that symbol, which is the symbol for Mercury. So now we go to our other chart here and see, okay, when should we do this? Well, we need the Mercury symbol to occur during daylight hours. So you could do that distillation, let's see here, early Wednesday morning. Or you could do it during the daytime on Friday, mid-morning. Or perhaps in the afternoon on Tuesday. So those are times where the process, if you were being in strict adherence with alchemy, doing your processes at these times is supposed to be favorable for your works. It's, like I said, it may not have any scientific bearing. I don't know because I haven't tested it. But it does seem to be a pretty neat way to tie things together. So I hope that's as clear, as mud. But I think it might be easier if these 3 charts were combined into one. And there's other methods for doing this that are even more complicated, but I thought that's complicated enough for a tradition. Like this, getting an exact horoscope for your works. I mean, it's getting pretty wacky. I mean, now, when it comes to artwork, looking at this art, if you didn't know what was going on here, I'd say moonshine and a crawfish boil. Because look at here, there's the moon, there's the shine, there's the crawfish. This old boy's like, hey, did you bring the crawfish? And this dude's like, tell me, please, that you brought the crawfish because I've been running the still over here. But really what it means is it's an alchemical art piece describing doing a distillation with the moon in Scorpio. Whether that's a daily astrological situation or a monthly astrological situation, I don't know. But anyway, that's the idea, is that there's times to do things and the process goes more smoothly when you follow those patterns. Let's take a look at some of the stuff I've been working on in the kitchen. Hang tight, I'll show you what I got going there. Okay, so if you recall in the last video, I poured rainwater into the calcinated ashes of echinacea. After filtering and heating and filtering and heating, we're left with this white, kind of a tan-colored, whitish salt here. And it's very hygroscopic. It would contain potassium carbonate, probably sodium compounds, magnesium carbonate, probably a lot of different salts, but they're all alkaline and they're very hygroscopic. And when they pick up water, they become also caustic. But when they're dried out with heat on the stove, it picks up a nice sweet smell. And this is what you want to add back to your tincture. Now here I have an echinacea tincture. I've separated, this from the root of the plant. I've separated out 2 equal quantities. I want to do a little bit of a test with this stuff before I put that salt into the entire batch, because I know the batch here is good quality stuff, and I don't want to, booger it up if I don't have the other part of it right. So we're going to do a little test, live test here, and see if it changes the color. We'll just pick up a little bit of this stuff. Kind of tricky to do with the camera. Let's see if I can. Okay, just a tiny little bit there. And let's see if this changes things in terms of the chemistry. I know that's using the butt end of a fork is kind of goofy, but it seemed like the proper tool to use. So it doesn't seem to really want to dissolve. Of course, these compounds are not soluble in alcohol, but what it will do is pick up any water that's left in the alcohol. What I'm wondering is, will it change the potency of this mix? Let's see if there's been any color change just right off the bat here. It doesn't look like there's any big color change. I might need to put more of it in there. And I might have to do an update on another video after some time has gone by. Now I did do a calcination on kava root and the kava root extract as well. And it turned out to be just a really, really nice reddish brown kind of color. Let me see if I can get that to focus there. It's just a good reddish kind of tea color. So that has the ashes put directly in it without any refinement. I didn't refine that, but I can filter it later. Whereas this method I used here was I boiled the ashes down and filtered the water out several filtrations later to get that salt that could then be added back to this, which should increase the potency. But we'll test it more. Well, I'd like to go into more astronomy. I have a computerized technique that I want to show you, but I think I'll just do that on another video because we've already added up quite a bit of time here. So that's it for today. Have a good one.